Tony Hawk, a name pretty indicative to video games and skateboards. More so skateboards than video games. But in the context of video games, Tony Hawk is a big deal. Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam, a game that I'm guessing came out later into the Tony Hawk franchise. It's something I don't really know too much about. We're not going to be reviewing Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam, the game, but rather see what the game was like through the strategy guide itself. Welcome to Sloppimoppi's Reading Video Games Strategy Guide Storm. This is a series where we are going to go through old video game strategy guides to kind of see what it was like to experience the game through the lens of the strategy guide specifically. There's been, I don't know how many games in this series at this point. It's been remastered so many times, but I don't know anything about this game. It's Downhill Jam. Based on the cover alone, we're going downhill and we're jamming based on the serious expression here from Mr. Anthony. Downhilling in, hazard a guess to be San Francisco based on the one landmark everyone knows about San Francisco. But we're going downhill and we're jamming, dude. Don't know a thing about this game. Looks like it was released only for the Wii. It seems to cover the Wii. Well, I'm guessing we're not gonna get a traditional Tony Hawk busting your combos, pressing the circle button to do a hold. Gonna be some waggle controls. Let's see what this guide promises to deliver for us. We are getting 100% pure adrenaline from top down to the bottom. I don't know what that means, but we're adrenaline everywhere. It's a new style of game, combining the excitement of the best action sports title with the competition of a racing game. If you want to come out on top of every downhill contest, then you need this guide. You can kind of see a sample of the strategy guide here too. Looks like we got maps, we got British punks, along with Rastafarians, because I think the only people in Tony Hawk's are caricatures. What else do we have? Locations, enhanced maps, what path to follow to earn gold in every race. Skaters provides the best stats and trick boost for every skater. Unlockables and cheats to get more boards, characters, and outfits. Cost you back $15.99. I'm guessing this was a full $60 Wii release. Brief overview on what a strategy guide is. Before the days of the internet, before YouTube really popped off, you needed to know how to get past a certain part. If I guess you needed to know what was the best racetrack or the best racer to go downhill in San Francisco, that's not Tony Hawk himself apparently. These guys would tell you what to do, but they're also really just fun to flip through if you don't have the game or you don't have access to the game and you hyperfixate or you want to know more about the game. This is the type of thing that you would have to turn to. So let's see what we got in store for us. Table of contents, there's just kind of a blank page here, which it's not quite as fun. We've got not a whole lot of headings here. Basics, there's skaters, skateboards, and you gotta have a what's a skater without its skateboard? And the challenges. So it looks like there's a total of 10 tiers and there's some random events. For locations, as Tony Hawk is about to eat what appears to be a direct line towards Machu Picchu, maybe Hong Kong, either way, he's a hungry man. We have the Alps, Chicago, Edinburgh, Hong Kong, Machu Picchu, Rio de Janeiro, Rome, and San Francisco. Places where you want to skateboard. Starting off here, the first page for the game tips kind of tells you, they always start with a tutorial because you need to know how to play the game before you actually jump in and play the game. We got waggle controls, folks. So it looks like you tilt the Wiimote from side to side to control your downhill jammer. You power slide, looks like just general stunts. Ollieing is done by holding down to crouch. So the two on the Wiimote. So it's all flicky, waggly. Wii nonsense, which was big at the time, has not really aged out. A zone bone combat, fight fellow skaters. Why do skateboards have to be so violent? I mean, they have so much in common. Wouldn't they just get more done if they all work together? Jump, press buttons, you do flips, do tricks. Tilt the Wiimote to keep bounce. So it's all waggle controls. And then you get your skaters, all your cool guys that you get to see. And guides showed the guys really well because you get your cool pictures of what sort of skateboarder, your characters, and you kind of connected to the characters. So that's always fun. But we have Bud, who looks like Rastafarian. We have Amon. These don't seem too culturally sensitive. Mackenzie, British woman from the top of the back there. She's aggressively British. Kyla. Gunner. He's from Norway. Oh, it tells you where they're from. Tiffany from Beverly Hills. Blonde girl. Oh, Tony Hawk. Who would have suspected that he would be in this game? But he's also like, are these alphabetized? No, because B comes before A. Why is Tony Hawk the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, 6th, 7th? He's Anthony, why are you the 7th character introduced in your own video game, my guy? You're the first name that comes out when we're looking at your downhill jam. Why are you back here? Why are you in position 7, Tony? Jinx, we've got 2 punk ladies and then 1 blonde from Beverly Hills. Crazy Crash Guy. I don't think he was born with this name. Willing to bet he crashes, and I bet he falls and he says funny words. Kevin Stab, pro skater from the 80s, probably a real dude. Armando Utbog. He doesn't have any further information. What a mystery. Scrape boards, guides, early guides. We're gonna get tables. Spreadsheets, we need to categorize. How much jump does this one have? Dark design, that's 4 jump, thank you. You want Makanga? Well, I would like to thank you, that is only 3 jump. Spooky board. The downhill challenge itself, it looks like these are going through the actual guides itself. Kind of just get a collection of what to expect here. Yes, this is the actual guide. It looks like it's kind of just a racing game, but Tony Hawk flavored. So it looks like the meat and potatoes of any game guide is going to be the walkthrough for the game itself. It looks like a racing game, more than a Tony Hawk game. You got your point A to point B, everything in between about what you should look at too. The guide itself just seems to kind of detail what to expect when you're going downhill. So it looks like the game is separated into various tiers with kind of the same locations used throughout here and there as well. As you unlock new tiers in the game and level up, I guess new abilities, new unlocks. So the maps are always probably some of the best part of the game too, especially like both from a standpoint of where you're going to need to spell skate in the video game and experiencing what it's like to play the game without actually having the game in front of you. It's really fun to get lost in some of these worlds. Imagine that you yourself are collecting the skate through the finish line. There's only a finite number of tracks. I think you saw at the beginning. We only had a few places we're gonna visit. Tony looks pretty juvenile in this. Like, I know this came out mid to late 2000s. I don't know if that's Tony Hawk. This looks like a Disney Channel rendition of Tony Hawk that they would want to sell toys at like fast food for. That's not my Tony Hawk. So progression in most of the game seems to go through the high point here. Challenge, rewards, what you're gonna get once you complete XYZ from the thing. Unlock it as you go, which I guess racing games in general, that's kind of all you really do. Not to disparage racing games. Good example of Wii texturing. It's hard work. Skateboarding. You gotta kick back. A man can only downhill jam so much. Wrapping up the challenge portion, it's pretty much what you'd expect with racing style content. You go from point A to point B, sometimes collect things here and there, and you see what you unlock. Guides are great for maps, because even nothing really beats holding a thing in your hand, especially when it comes to video game related content, because it's whole world is in here. It is always exciting to see these locations that some, even in weird racing spin-offs, someone put a lot of time into the design and location of what these maps are going to look like and where you're going to go. So I always love flipping through it and seeing what sort of adventures Mr. Hawk would get into. Chicago, you can kind of see the baseball feel. I know they like their baseball. I don't know. See the bean? Where's the bean? No bean. Edinburgh, Eden. I'm going to say it as wrong as I can so no one can be upset. Edinburgh, Hong Kong. And I also really like the grayed out portion too, that someone had to take the time to like model and render and put in there. Machu Picchu, there she is. Rio de Janeiro, San Francisco. The very first thing we see off the front cover, San Francisco, is the last map we see in the guide. Unlockables and cheats. But you can see both referenced in the beginning and back here of how you get whatever, what you gotta do to unlock it. Oh, and then the actual cheat codes itself. Unlock manual. Manuals? Those were pretty big in the game, like the original. You press up and down, you do a little skateboard wheelie and ride around there too, so I don't know why you have to unlock it earlier. Large birds. Bird. Large birds. Bird. The silly Billy cheat codes. Coordinates all moves. Free Bossler. Nothing too surprising, I guess. Except for the final image of Disney Channel Tony Hawk looking like he should be slapped on the side of a bag of apples to entice toddlers into buying those bags of apples. Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam. It's like a racing game. There's a few characters, there's a few maps that look like they go from point A to point B. Would I play this game as a kid? Probably. Tony Hawk was huge. There's been a few re-releases recently, a few remasters. They try to experiment with weird stuff, but it just never really hit the mark. It never captured the magic of the original franchise. It's fine. I appreciate Michael Owen for taking the time to make this guide. Let me know what you liked, let me know what you didn't. I'd like to make more of these. I don't know if this guide is a great example of how the magic of strategy guides can capture the imagination of a child who doesn't have access to the internet. There's only so many things you can do with a racing game. But it's still fun to flip through. It's been Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam, skateboards.